as Eli Manning stays on his feet. It is caught by Tyree.
Welcome to Catch the Moment Podcast. I'm your host, David Tyree, back for another exciting episode. And this is where you come to get the goods, the journey, the process, and the pain points on the way to your next destination. Today, this is really a special moment. We have our first dynamic female disruptor at the orange table. Dana Wilson, Dana Disrupts. Welcome to Catch the Moment.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I feel like I messed up here. I should have had on my disruptor sneakers. I definitely
should have.
I threw that off.
And we would have gave you full shouts, full video, but don't worry, there's more opportunities.
Absolutely,
because we do go, but we got to acknowledge the greatness of your heritage, Essex County, Montclair, New Jersey.
Absolutely.
It's really dope. We connected via LinkedIn, and of course we have some mutual admiration.
Yeah,
but. Sister Soldier, you out here moving in these streets.
Listen, I appreciate you. we both are. We are trying to keep it together.
Yes.
Keep the momentum going and just enjoying life and living it to its full potential.
I love it. Well, you're inspiring. So usually like to start off, and it's a fun little point of reference, right? So I'm known for the helmet catch. I'm known for that iconic moment. That's the theme. So where were you when you first saw the helmet catch? Do you remember where you were? Was there any experience, thoughts to share?
Well, it was a dope catch.
Respect.
Yeah, definitely a lot of respect. I'm trying to remember exactly where I was, but I know that my mother did go to your book signing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that was
come on, big shout.
Yeah. Her and one of her best friends went and were very excited and supportive of really supporting you. And I think that was probably my moment of really understanding that catch and the significance of it, and also just shouting you out for being a part of that Montclair culture and what that means to be at that height and level in sports. And then also put it, the words to paper, because I feel like a lot of people don't take the time and reflection to do that through our own voices. So doing that coupled with the catch. So, kudos to you. And
no, that's good. Tell Mom's big shout, because that was special. I mean, like when you have something like that, that's what it's about. It's like you at this stage, you're evolving in the marketplace in a really dynamic way. I love the tagline, Dana Disrupts.
Yes.
Primarily through, I would say primarily because as I'm looking at your speaking platform and ways in which you're adding value to so many different organizations, companies, and people, and obviously individuals, I'm like, you're, financial, Fintech, DEI, girl, you out here getting it.
Yeah, getting it. The definition of doing all things. Right?
I like it. So you're obviously well kept together. Give me, and I like to, challenge you a little bit. So what would you say? Because you're kind of, I would even say, approaching your primes, getting this, you got a nice little rhythm and cadence. So what would you say up to this point is your defining moment as you're evolving into who you are, even more so as a professional?
Yeah, I think just leaning into my full self and being extremely authentic and brave in every aspect of who I am. I feel like a lot of times as women, and particularly as Black women, we're not pushed out there to be as audacious or as loud or as just proud of all that makes us who we are, right? To wear our natural hair, to do all of these things, and to be in, public facing and just being fully unapologetically ourselves in every way, shape, or form, and pushing the boundaries of what now feminism is starting to look like. I think there's just a beauty in being able to stand in your own lane and just create the space that you always wanted to be, and not allow others to kind of really change that for you. So I think for me, stepping in all of these very amazing moments that I've had thus far, and being myself and, rocking my braids on stages.
Doing it.
These, very loud, suits of colors and all of these different things, where I felt when I was in banking, I was kind of trapped in what I was supposed to look like, right?
Sure.
You wear your hair straight, it's not natural. You wear these black, brown suits, maybe dark blue is thrown in there, maybe a tan every
Maybe
now
a
and then,
tan,
right?
maybe
Maybe a tan. But I think it was tough to really push the boundaries a bit because you're, positioned in this particular way. So for
Yes.
me, it's just about living in those full, authentic moments and not trying to fit into anybody else's box but mine, if there is one, which I don't think there is now.
No, I think that it's a beautiful thing. As an athlete, you kind of get some of those experiences. Obviously, having the position and the value of an athlete, you always get a chance to express certain things. Whereas in corporate culture, there's a lot more restrictions. There's a lot more to consider in relation to laws and conformity and all those things. So when you're evolving into this space, like, how did you arrive? Like, and what was that moment where you came to terms that you needed to break out?
Yeah, I feel like there were so many moments.
Okay.
So the first one I would say is so back in 2008, I was still in banking, but knew that I wanted to do something different.
Okay.
I had kind of felt like I had done everything there was to do in a bank, and I was somewhat hitting like this wall. And I decided to leave banking at in 2008, which was the top of the financial crisis.
Yeah, man. 'Cause I lost a lot of equity on my house around that time.
Yeah, it was wild. It was wild. And I decided to walk away from my position at that time and kind of go into this new space, which was helping someone build their State Farm office from the ground up.
Oh, wow.
And literally, in the room building with no heat, we're still kind of the build out of the building. And then there was the build out of the business. And to watch that, it just stuck with me. And there was just something that I could not shake. I didn't know what it was.
Okay.
I didn't really ever see myself in this entrepreneurial role.
Yeah.
But I was like, there's this feeling here of just like this no plan or no strategy that I love because I can dive in fully and just create it. Like, this is the chance for me to fully use as much of my brain as possible and just figure out where it's taking me as opposed to having some plan put together for me.
Sure.
So I think at that moment, I realized something, and I stepped into this role and worked with this person for about 3 or 4 years, and then, ended up going back into kind of a corporate space. But then at that point, realized, hey, I don't like it here.
Got it.
It was just that we tried a second time just to see,
touch back home real quick.
And it was just like,
I like it.
Nope. Let me go and continue down this path that I was on, and then made a next leap to start my own investment practice, which was another leap in itself. So I feel like in those different moments, it was me kind of finding and defining that moments of what it meant to be brave and to be strong, but I didn't necessarily have all the words behind it yet. It was still me figuring out the story and what that story was, but yeah, it was just dynamic. And I feel like when you feel those feelings, you owe it to yourself to lean in and just see where it takes you. And, it's taken me to this table. So it's like, those are very beautiful instances and things that have happened.
No, I love how you were able to actually pinpoint those moments. And ultimately, that's the journey of discovery, whereas we don't even really know what we want sometimes until we experience certain things, right? It's like, oh, no, I really don't like that, right? It's like, you thought you like it. And it's really important in the process of growth, maturity, and self-discovery. So now when you talk about the experiences, now tell me about some of the people you've been talking about, and that's one of your topics, mentors, and the role of particular influences in your life. And this is personal and professional, I can imagine, right? So who were some of those people that were helping you formulate your thoughts, come to terms as you were making some of these pit stops?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't believe that you get anywhere by yourself. It is not
man.
Yeah, listen, it is not by accident. I mean, the one thing that my mother always just told me was that you don't ever burn bridges, right? It was just something that I think that was ingrained in me. And from there, it was always making sure I have this really dynamic network, and not just a network to have a network, but a network to hone in on relationships and what that looks like. And I think as you get older, you just generate different boundaries for those types of relationships, but you keep them close to you. Those become important. You get closer to people when you're able to live in your full authentic space. But yeah, it was, family. My grandmother was just an amazing, amazing human being. So brave, so strong. One of the first Black women to work in the radiology department and pathology department in Duke Medical Center in Durham, North Carolina. So I can only imagine the things that she was faced with in certain moments.
Ooh, in North Carolina.
Yeah, what they say, North Kakalaki.
Say less.
Yeah, but between, you know, her and also some other mentors I had along the way, like my first boss coming into the financial services industry and banking, Black man, I still keep in touch with him. He's still one of my biggest champions and mentors. And I love how I feel like the relationship has evolved from, you know, him mentoring me and now him being in this space of transition in certain points of his career and now kind of asking me for my advice. And I'm like, hey, you know, it's like, it's really cool to have those relationships where they evolve, and he's literally watched me grow up professionally and personally, right?
Tremendous.
This is someone who knew me in my early 20s, and now he's just like, oh my God, like, you know, texting me that constant motivation of, you know, it's nice to see someone get to that place knowing where they came from. And I think just having and keeping people like that around me have really kept me whole on those days where it's just like, I don't think I could do this, or I'm not sure if I'm going to make it through this week in this journey. Through starting this company and all the things I feel like I'm pushing the boundaries on in this industry, because I'm definitely pushing a lot. And
you pushing?
along with the collective others who are pushing for such change and equality in this industry. But a lot of those individuals and opportunities definitely keep me focused and keep me grounded.
No, it's really impactful, and I love the way you talk about the changing nature of these relationships. I'm a big advocate of having an older mentor and a younger mentor, and we're at that stage.
Because I have no clue how to use TikTok, so I'm okay with admitting that.
Oh, listen, you and me both. I'm like, you know, I'm a little older, so I got you by a few years, but I'm like. Yeah, I mean, like, give me a script and I'm good. But
yes,
I can't wake up each day thinking about what tagline to sing and what song to sing.
That's it.
But it's important as you're growing and evolving, and everybody is now understanding, you know, brand culture, like, you know, the individual being a brand. We're seeing younger people even more so pushing boundaries in relation to you know, changing work demands. Some of it's a little scary, but some of it's really dynamic and really refreshing. So. You talked about it, the having those voices in the challenging times. So I'm just big on mindset. So talk to me a little bit about, you know, maybe one of those more challenging times. You know, like bring me into that dark moment where, you know, you felt like you might have been in the basement.
Listen, what time is it? That might have been earlier this afternoon.
Because we all got them, and I think that we don't. You present as much as you feel like you're comfortable with. So tell me a little bit about that and how you overcome some of those internal and maybe even external challenges.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think a lot of it is just keeping that good mindset and being able to set your boundaries. I think a lot of that is what I've been working on this year. Which has been really important and impactful for how I move forward in various relationships. I think that does something for your mental health when you can kind of ensure that you're protecting yourself.
It's good.
And being selfish is good. You know, in certain instances, when people have tried to make you seem like selfish or putting yourself first means that you're selfish, right? There's all sorts of things around that. But I think for me, it's just maintaining healthy relationships, maintaining healthy friendships.
There you go.
Keeping those people around me that will keep me, you know, prayed up and,
come on,
all of those things.
You free here.
No, listen, I mean,
pray for me.
Yeah, and we have those conversations in like a lot of my group chats, right?
Sure.
It's really about, hey, you know, I'm going through this today, or this is about to come up. Can you pray? Let's pray for each other and make sure you get those things or I get those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's doing the work, right? It's making sure that I'm staying on my workout routine, because I know when that's off, Dana is just off.
Come on, talk about it. You got to move something.
Yeah, you got to move. You got to move something, or at least like I do. Like I have to have my different regimen on that.
Excellent.
It's therapy, right? It's not just working on the body; it's the mental. So that has been something that I put into my overall practice, which I feel like we should talk more about is mental health.
Sure.
So between sticking to a schedule, making sure that I'm taking care of myself. If I need to rest, I will take a nap. And that could be midday, but it's like, if that's what my body needs, if I'm maybe working and I feel like, hey, I'm just unfocused, or for whatever reason, I can't get through this moment. Like either it's me needing to step away, maybe it's, putting the computer on sleep, maybe it's laying down for a little bit, maybe it's just turning on the TV and doing some mindless watching.
This is good.
But I think a lot of times we don't listen to our bodies and what we need. We kind of just try to power through everything.
There we go.
And powering through isn't always necessarily healthy or keeping you happy.
Sure.
So it's just about that. But I think in those moments when I kind of in that place, because you have that a lot when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a founder, when you're putting so much of yourself out there, because it's a lot of energy to stand on stages. You're giving a lot of yourself out.
Yep.
And I think sometimes people think I'm this big like extrovert, and I'm really not. Like, I'm kind of I'm like in between.
People kind of miss that in general. Like when you can engage with people. I'm very much the same way. Like when I'm present, I'm fully present.
Absolutely.
And when I'm not, I'm out of here.
Yeah, like I need like a few minutes to go sit, and then I'll be able to come back out and come chat more.
Absolutely.
But I think it's just knowing those things about yourself, and not like pushing through because, this is what this person wants me to be, or this is how they see me, so I have to perform at every single second. It's okay for you to say no, to keep that safe space for you. So,
oh my girl, heating up. You heating up because this is what we get trapped into. We think that high performance is having a performance mentality,
right?
And a performance mentality drives you to perform at every stake, at every depot, at every opportunity, and you will exhaust yourself.
Yeah.
And so this is really, we're talking about comprehensive life, not just business.
Yeah.
Because I hear you talking about healthy relationships.
Yeah, and that's also in business too.
In business.
All partnerships aren't good. All money isn't good money.
Come on.
Listen, how much time we got? 'Cause that's a whole nother segment in Word. But I feel like sometimes we're always chasing things that aren't necessarily meant for us. And the minute we kind of take those pauses and reflective moments, we can kind of make sure we're doing the things that actually are in line with our mission, vision, values that are personal, not always just business.
Oh, girl, she got all these blows. So we obviously, we speak the same language, and as much as we bear the same upbringing, this is really powerful, because then you get a chance to really, I say find your tribe, right? Ultimately, just by virtue of having a clear sense of direction of who you are as an individual, what you believe, what you stand for, what you want to accomplish, it actually just, it parts, it kind of parts that river, and you begin to find your people in light of having that clear sense of direction. So, all right, so I'm going to give y'all the real breakdown on Dana Disrupts. Dana Disrupts is a dynamic keynote speaker. Then we have Chip, which is changing how individuals prosper. Yep. And then and there's even more beneath that, but that's two extremely dynamic platforms. And so you're in Fintech, you have a financial services background. Tell me how you see how these things, and even more so DEI, which is the conversation that needs to continue to happen. Right. So you have three major value adds as entities, as well as by insight and expertise.
Yeah, and then somehow I'm in school. I still don't know how that's happening.
And there we go. Almost missed that. Like Executive MBA at Penn State elect.
Yes.
And we know
Shout
you're going to
out
finish.
to my cohort. I love them dearly.
Amazing. So we are gluttons for the right punishment.
Yes, we are. It's powerful punishment, right?
Powerful punishment. That's good. I needed a tagline. So it's not too many people I come across that, what makes our load a little different between my wife and DT3 Enterprises with 7 kids, as well. We got a podcast. We got it. But what do you find, even what you're involved in and committed to, what is there a true passion? There are obviously things that you have tremendous insight, perspective, and expertise on. Is there a singular passion that you find, or is it just like you don't know how to separate it? Talk me through that.
Yeah, I think I think it's just been being able to have all of the passions and use all of the different parts of my brain. So I'm a marketing person at heart. Like I love the creative side. I love the arts. I love theater. I love just thinking and just visually thinking. I'm a visual learner. And then there's the, quantitative side that also leans and loves finance.
Sure.
And I think that in bringing all of these together, I've been able to lean and explore both of those things.
Excellent.
And, sometimes we're in a place where we have to like push one down to let the other one shine. And I think it comes out in certain moments. But for me, all of it is just a wraparound strategy for everything. Like they all fit together.
Nice.
And I think sometimes when you think a certain way, you can only really understand how the pieces fit together. Although other people will look at you and it's just like, what are you doing? Like you seem confused. Are you okay? And it's just like, no, I'm fine. Like,
I'm fine.
I know, I'm good.
Perfectly okay with this.
Perfectly okay. Like I know you don't get or see the strategy, but there's a strategy there, and they all fit together, right? So me running this company, me being a speaker, I feel like those are the things that you kind of come with the. Sort of with the job of being a CEO and being a founder.
Sure.
And also just not even from a job perspective, just being passionate about a particular subject and knowing that, hey, you want to and need to stand on stages in order to get some stories across. And you have to take those big risks and be brave and just kind of be front and center because someone has to kind of play that role. And,
absolutely.
Being inspired by others in the industry, outside of the industry, who I've also seen, who I'm like, hey, they can do that. Maybe I could do that. And it was literally that got me started on the podcast. I was on someone's podcast and I was like, oh, this is fun. I really enjoy this. Let me start one. And that was literally like the minute of thinking. So I think being able to just lean into that, because that allowed me to practice speaking, to get comfortable with conversations. And I did that for 2 years or so, like interviewing and talking. And that, I didn't realize it, but that was gearing me up for being on stages, being on panels, moderating, doing, larger speaking opportunities. So it was like everything was well designed in my favor with me not even really realizing, but just knowing that I loved it.
Yeah.
Like I loved getting to know people, hearing their stories and wanting to ensure that their stories were shared with the world.
I love it. Because it's actually, you're just putting the simple interest without thinking, without overthinking.
Yeah, without overthinking it. And sometimes I do overthink it. Sometimes, I get in my own way and it's still a process.
Of course.
But I think for the most part, it's more so, hey, is this something that feels good? Does it bring you joy? And if those things can be answered, then let's do it.
Then you're not wasting time.
I'm not wasting time. Also, if I feel like I'm fearful of it, I will also do it. Right? Because I feel like it's
precedent.
Fear will drive you from things that you should be doing.
Sure.
So if it's out of fear in a comfortable way, then I need to do this. Like there's something there that I need to pursue that's taking me out of my comfort zone.
Nice.
As opposed to, hey, if I do this, am I comfortable here? Maybe this doesn't make sense. Right?
Sure. So. I love it. I love it. So this is a fun conversation for me, like work-life balance, right? What are your views on work-life balance? I'll give you a little bit of insight into mine. Is it real? Does it exist? What's your approach?
I think it's a balance. I don't know if I think the one thing about being in school has helped me with time management. I feel like I had, to set up my schedule in a way that was compartmentalized, where I went from like, okay, this part of my day is this part of my day is this. I break everything off for like lunch, dinner, walking my puppy, and then, the evenings are for school.
Sure.
And I think the problem when I first started was that I was trying to live in my same routine as new things were coming in.
Yeah.
So that was just becoming a balance of like frustration and anger and why can't I get this right? It's because you're still trying to do the same thing when life is changing for a good reason, right?
This is good. I hope y'all catching this. You got to move with the ebbs and flows of life.
Yeah, you got to adjust. And I think for me, that has helped with having some sort of balance.
Sure.
Because it's allowed me to, set in concrete steps of what I can do where I want to change my schedule, but also give me the flexibility to know that, hey, well, if I'm not hungry at 1:00, excuse me, which is when I try to take my lunchtime, then I don't have to necessarily eat at this time, right? I can move it, but it's good that it's on my calendar, so it gets me to a stopping point.
That's good.
And even just being mindful of wanting, what's important to me, right? So it's hanging out with my family, making time to be with my nieces, making time to be with my mother and my friends, and just going for walks and reading and stuff like that.
Sure.
So those are things that I, am very intentful about making sure that they're on the calendar.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is good.
You got to make the time. It's tough.
No, it's good because it's like, I think it's a real thing, and it's usually a little bit of a play on words. The best word I've found is it's really more work-life integration, right? And I think when you're fiercely committed to the right things, right? And I think that's based on your values, your mission, goals, and and having a sense of hopefully your values are not detached from the things that are serving a holistic mindset. I say be well, do well. It has to first start with who you are, so that you could actually do the things that we aspire to do. But that stems from being, right? And I think that's what your life begins to exemplify, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Change starts with you first.
There it is.
It's like you can't expect the world to do it in reverse, right?
Yeah.
You have to kind of start making those changes, and then again, that's how you set all of the boundaries and the obstacles. And at the end of the day, you just do your best. Like, you can't show up for everyone all in the same moments.
There you go. and being at peace with it, right?
And being at peace with it.
Some of us are tormented with letting people down, not being able to deliver. Yeah. And, Listen, like I said, I got 7 kids, a few different business entities going on. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I plead guilty. Like, hey man, I'm sorry. I can't do that.
Yeah.
And being okay with that, which is really powerful. So, talk to me in light of all these things. What does leisure look like for Dana Disrupt? What is your happy place? Like, I could imagine. You talked about the family, the dog. Is it a vacation? Is there a bow? Is there what are the things that kind of cut you out from all the moving pieces in relation to your goals in the marketplace?
Yeah, it's definitely travel. Like, I love to travel.
Okay.
I love international travel. But I've also been trying to explore more in the U.S. I think COVID has reminded me that there's stuff in the United States that I still want to see, that I've forgotten about, cities and places I haven't been able to go. I love to cycle, so getting out and just, zoning out on my bike and just going, right? It's like a time and a place where I don't have to think about anything. I just kind of focus on the ride. I'm a big park person. I will just, like, for me, reading is an experience. Like, I know some people like to read on audiobooks. I probably did my first audiobook like last summer. I'm like super...
I just did my first one.
Okay, so I'm not alone in this. Okay, good. I feel in good company.
I tried before it, but I felt like I was unsuccessful.
Yeah. I tried. I was like, I like the experience of opening a book, going to like sit down somewhere or go to a park and like read, and it's a whole thing for me.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a part of just that balance of just being away and uninterrupted. So I think just leaning into a lot of those moments of just downtime.
It's good.
I think is really, really important. Like, anytime you can be disconnected from like phone, internet.
Yes.
I did that for the first time this past year, and it was amazing. Like, I don't think I rested. Like, not having like dings and stuff going on. So for me, I think it's just about like that.
Super dope.
Yeah, stepping into those things.
Super dope. All right, so when you're obviously you're extremely goal oriented. You've navigated multiple lanes. So there's always frustration points. What is the thing that frustrates you the most, whether it's a competency, a lack thereof, or working with others? What's the pain point for you, and how do you mitigate those?
Yeah.
Because every teammate ain't a good teammate.
Oh yeah. No. Oh my goodness. That's a whole nother segment.
Yeah. What are some of the things you like? Oh my God. Let me just. Oh my.
I think it's other people's inability to see the change that you are either leaning towards, or the person that you're becoming, and still maybe treating you like that previous person, right?
Ooh, yeah.
So when you are evolving, your energy is changing. You start detracting and attracting a lot of different types of people. And I think when your energy is positioned well, when you're spiritually aligned, mentally aligned, physically aligned, you start attracting that same type of energy.
Sure.
And a lot of people, I think I'm realizing, just we're not meant to go on certain journeys with you, and they weren't meant to be blessed with the things that you're being blessed with.
Correct.
And I think sometimes, people don't know how to move around you in that new light.
Sure.
And I think those are the most things that are frustrating, when it's just this maybe combative nature of, hey, you're changing, oh, you're different, oh, you do these things.
Yeah. But they say it like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, they say, exactly. And I think that's the problem, right? When it comes off of as a bad thing, it's just like, that tells you, that tells me enough right away where, okay, this is something that's not going to work, because you're projecting your fears, your discrepancies, whatever that is, onto me. And I've moved away from whoever you thought or whatever you had, the characteristics in your head. So I think those are like my biggest personal pain points with individuals. I mean, from a business perspective, industry perspective, I think it's just, wanting to see more change, more inclusivity in the financial industry, which is, everything that wakes me up every morning, knowing that, it's not just me sitting in this boat, but it's a lot of other individuals within my industry who are pushing and fighting and grinding for this change, and literally not going to stop until we see more voices, more faces, more spaces for others being made in a very loud way. And, I think, this industry, the financial industry, is just changing. And it's frustrating when you see people who don't want to change. Yeah. Because they're not really understanding that the world is changing.
I love it.
You have to kind of change with it, or
die. Or die. That's the really neat nature about, like, the human experience of if we don't adapt, we die, we suffocate. And it becomes the same with industries, right? The blockbuster stories and things of that nature.
Lack of empathy.
Yeah, and it's the lack of consideration. But what I really do love is we can see the changing of the guards in different leadership dynamics. Even for me as somebody in sports, there's an old guard mentality that just reigns hierarchical, and it's not inclusive completely. It's disconnected, and it's a taking mentality versus we're now in the collaborative age, and every person recognizes their value, and if they don't feel valued, they're gone.
Oh yeah, like we are bringing all of our experience to the table. Yeah, and if we can't be at the table, we'll just go build our own table.
Go build our own tables.
Bring our own chairs. They might be lawn chairs at first, but we'll grow up to the nice cushy leather chairs that you can sit back and relax.
Listen, we're getting there.
we're on
our way. So give me there's a well of wisdom that I obviously haven't truly tapped into in relation to your financial your not just your practice, but your thoughts and your approach. So give me what would you say are some practical 1, 2, 3 steps to financial freedom? I know it's not that simple, but what are the first steps for anybody who's even considering this? What are the first few things that you really want to bring in the reins?
Yeah, sure. Well, first thing I would say is be realistic. Sometimes with our money, we don't want to look at it. We don't want to know what's going on. We also kind of sometimes live in this false reality of what it is. So I think, so being realistic with where you are financially, and then being open to acknowledging any mistakes you might have made, any things that, hey, I should have done this by a certain age, right? Sure. Because then we get to a place where we get stagnant, we beat ourselves up, and then we get into this paralysis where we don't do anything because of shame and all the negative connotations that we put behind that. Yeah. Just being realistic with where you are. From there, it's, being okay with where you are in your situation. Know your numbers from a debt perspective, where all your money is, whether it's in 401ks, knowing where it is, why it's there, who it's with. and ensuring that all of those documents and investments that you have in place, they're titled properly, you have all your beneficiary information correct, because things change and things happen, and sometimes we forget to update certain things.
Oh, yeah.
And it's truly important, especially from wills, insurance, and this is business and professional.
No, this is real.
From understanding your key person insurance from a business perspective. You might not want to be, in business with your partner's spouse, right? That might be a very bad relationship. So you want to make sure all of those things are handled properly, and they make sense, and be comfortable having the conversation, right? In a lot of our communities, it's something that we don't like to talk about.
Yeah, and like I said, it's mental health, it's money, yeah. And obviously even romance these are things that, thank God, there's more discussion around,
there's
right?
more, it's becoming normalized.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole thing. Anything, and I've always said this, anything that appears to be taboo, Satan's in. I'm like, listen, that is retarded. You can't talk about. So, no, those are some tremendous keys, and I hope every listener just kind of really considers that, because we're around a wealth of information, but there's oftentimes we don't take the proper action.
Oh yeah.
So we want to really give every opportunity to take those practical steps in action. So all right, Dana Disrupts. What can we expect, and what are you most excited about moving forward into this stage and chapter, and even with Chip as well? Explain, and real briefly, explain what Chip is and what you guys are offering.
Absolutely. So thank you for that. So CHIP stands for Changing How Individuals Prosper. So it's a B2B financial services platform, and we make it easier for individuals and small businesses to find financial professionals of color. So whether you're a financial advisor, insurance professional, CFP, so certified financial planner, tax pro, an estate planner or estate attorney, we really want people to be able to design and have their own financial team. I think that's something that's truly missing in being able to not just think about what financial strategy you want to have, but actually get to the point of implementation. So our platform is really about, hey, we want you to be educated, we want you to get all these tools, but we want you to start implementing what you're learning. And that's really what we're focused on.
It's good.
Yeah.
Be a doer, not just a hero.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. We want to put people in positions to do, right? Let's get you all these things set up because it's so important. And as far as next things, I mean, I'm just open to and listening to where the world is guiding me.
Sure.
And just trying to go into this new season with a new word. So my word for this year, which I actually have around my neck, because I'm big into like words and stuff. So it says, I am resilient.
Nice.
And I have some other like take more chances and strength, courage, and something.
Are you wearing the word?
I wear. And
go ahead and wear the word.
You gotta,
put it on.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said in having those small reminders and mantras. So for me, this year was about resiliency. And I think going into next year, it's just about being even more audacious. I think that might be my word. I'm trying to pick what it will be for next year. Still kind of working on it. But I think just being on bigger stages, talking more about what we're doing, leaning more into where Dana Disrupts is going. It's really exciting. And some other stuff that I'm hoping I'll have on the table that you have done. I won't like talk too much about it, and hopefully it will happen. But I'll share more offline.
We're gonna get great done together. This is my clan family.
We're gonna hit some milestones.
We have different pedigree around here.
Yeah, but it's just watching and being able to celebrate the evolution and the things that have happened. So I'm just excited for all the opportunities. The networking, the more collaboration, the growing Chip to be where I know it will be. And, that sense of giving back and the impact that I know Chip will make. So it's exciting. Man,
I'm super excited. All right, so I could obviously go on forever, and we'll keep this conversation going. I promise you'll be back at the table. But so tell us where we can find you, and we want to make sure that you have that full platform so that people can find you as a speaker and continue to find what Chip is. So go ahead, give us a quick breakdown.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram, Twitter as Dana Disrupts, and my speaker website is danadisrupts.com. If you're looking for Chip, you can find us at Chip Professionals on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. On Twitter we're Chip_pros, so PROS, but chipprofessionals.com. If you're an individual, small business owner, or a professional looking to be on our platform, come join us.
She got bars for days. She got bars. This is a different kind of pedigree. Dana, I want to thank you for who you are, what you represent, a woman of integrity, resilience, and yes, you are audacious. You're about to step into a new season of you're already dynamic, but you're gonna be seasoned moving forward into this season, and you're gonna stand on stages that you're gonna overwhelm. You carry that. There's a radiance as well as an elegance that you emanate, but also expertise. You're killing them with the substance. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Thanks for having me. This is amazing.
You've been all that. So listen, I want to thank you, family, for another amazing episode. There is, from start to finish, Dana has delivered us blueprint on how we could really establish a life with true meaning, with vision, with intention, how you can get great done in multiple lanes, but still be at one with who you are within your mission and vision. And ultimately, check out those dimes that she's given in the marketplace so that you can optimize your best right now to get where you want to go. Thank you. Make sure y'all follow, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff so that we can keep this platform going. We'll catch the next moment with you next time.